Good afternoon, world. It's not moments past noon. It is right at the bell of high noon here in Waxahachie, Texas. Oh, we're deep in the heart of the Lone Star State, and we're broadcasting. We're broadcasting episode number 92 on
Mhm.
September 18th of 2025 of Grit and Good News. And we're not even going to talk about the shadows of the Ellis County Courthouse. We got a lot of stuff to go. And
Yes,
I'm
we
going to tell
do.
you what, my name is Jeff Lynch, and I'm your co-host running the board. And it's a project today because he's got a lot to handle. Is our man Sammy Brooks. And to my right is
Thank
our
you,
other
brother.
host, Scott Brooks.
Thank you,
Take
thank
it,
you,
Scott.
thank you.
Let's
Welcome
go.
everybody to Grit and Good News. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 1 o'clock. You already know that by now. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. We want everybody here because we believe this is a show where we can do what the country desperately needs, and that is talk and listen and understand. We do have a lot to talk about
It's been
today.
a long time since you mentioned whatever platform you're listening on. Guess what? There's a bunch of them, and they are.
They are Facebook, Twitch, there is YouTube, there is Instagram. Am I missing one?
That's it.
Yeah, so
All
you
those
can catch
ways.
these live, and if you can't watch live, which most people can't right now, I mean, it's hard to, as we build our audience, it's hard for people to just stop at lunch and listen. Some do, but most listen to us by way of, um, in the evening by way of Facebook. I'm sorry, YouTube usually, but you can also find it on Facebook. So this show is available from now until whenever. You just got to go to YouTube, look up Waxahachie Sun, and you'll find us there. And Great and Good News, and you'll see and listen.
And there's an episode number, and at the bottom it will also give you little vignettes of probably the three major topics.
Right. So today is number 92. Sammy, do you have any numbers today? We like to compare our episode number to sports players that we might know that wore the same number. In this case, 92. Do we have any?
We do. You want to have a guess? I see some pretty
We
big
did.
names on here.
No, Reggie White wore 93. I don't know 92.
First one is Reggie White.
Oh, I thought he wore 93.
It's telling me Reggie White wore number 92.
Okay.
Then we got Michael Strahan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got James Harrison.
Oh yeah.
Well, that Strahan made a career from himself
He made a
after
career out of his
football.
teeth.
Out of his teeth. What a smile. What a
Yeah.
guy.
And then I said James Harrison.
Yes.
We got Chris Jones, Chiefs defensive tackle.
He wears them 95.
He could have worn
double
number
check.
92.
No, you need to double check your sources.
See, this is why I got kicked out of
It
this.
did, and you're gonna get kicked out of it because I know he was just on TV the other day. He wears number 95.
Okay. Oh, that's all for
Yeah, that's a
that's
weird
all
number.
for football. But
Yeah.
Jeff has the hockey
you
guys.
have
Hockey, we got a good list. We got Rick Tocchet, a long time with
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. We got Tomas Vakun, a great goaltender from the Penguins. He was a Czech. He took the number because the greatness of Marc-Andre Fleury, the goalie with the
my
hyphen,
favorite. He was
had
29.
29, so he took 92 instead. I love
Yeah.
it when that happens. Alex Nylander, a Swede with the
Yep.
Blue Jackets, and
Yep.
he took it because his dad had that
Yeah.
previously. Yevgeny Kuzvetsov,
Yeah.
Russian, plays with the Avs. Some say he may be the best ever to wear 92. He now plays in the Russian Continental League with a K
Yeah.
for SKA St. Petersburg. And then we got Gabriel Landeskog with the Avs wearing the C. Also thought
He's
to be
playing
the
now,
best
isn't he?
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still in the
good.
game. Yeah, that's
All right,
what we
cool.
got.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Let's bring you up to speed on a few things that are just now happening. Erica Kirk. Jeff, you want to fill us in on
I
what
just
Erica
heard it on the radio coming in. The board of directors
of Turning Point?
of Turning Point has said that she will be the new CEO, and they said that Charlie had always said if anything happened, she should be the one. And
Yeah.
I heard a brief clip where she said, Charlie, I'm paraphrasing, but Charlie, I will not let you down. I will never let your memory fade. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you what, I think they could not make a better choice.
Yeah, I think it's Charlie is Charlie, and Charlie will always there will always be only one Charlie Kirk. There will always be only one Erica Kirk because she obviously, given what we saw in her remarks last Friday night, she is a strong-willed woman, confident woman, godly woman, and I believe she obviously loved her husband and will carry on his mission. And you know, she in some ways will make it even more powerful.
I heard a quote an interview with the guy that's the producer of the show,
Yeah.
and he said Charlie had a knack for finding great talent.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed with him, I was just out of high school and I was planning on going to college, and he talked me into going to work for him instead.
Yeah.
And when he interviewed, he said, "No, you're working for me."
Yeah.
When he interviewed Erica for a job, he said, "I can't hire you
Yeah.
because I want to date you."
Yeah. There's a wonderful video, if you haven't seen it, of Charlie explaining that for people to understand. He's explaining it to his little daughter, and he you can see the back of his daughter, but he's explaining it, and they're holding hands, and she's all happy and giddy, and he's saying just what you just said. You know, it was a job interview, and then I said, no, we're gonna date. You know, that it's a really touching, moving video of the two of them. So I think Turning Point is in good hands. Sammy and Kennedy went to the Turning Point vigil or tribute last night in Midlothian. Sammy, any remarks on that? What
No,
your
I mean
experience?
it was wonderful. There was a ton of people there.
Yeah,
You know, a ton of speakers, kids,
yeah,
just a lot of love, and of course there was a lot of cops, so I
yeah.
felt really safe. There was
Yeah,
a lot of
well,
cops.
I think there's reason for all of us now, for really those of us in the public domain who share our thoughts, to realize that there are wackos everywhere, and we just keep moving along. Chuck says, yeah. Thank you, Chuck, for being here. Thank you, Terry, for being here as always. So we have that with Turning Point. There were about 2,000 people last night that attended that. Our middle daughter and her husband also attended. We will have a story on it. Should be in tomorrow, online tomorrow, and the next Wednesday in print. So we look forward to telling you all about that. A couple other things. I just read a story when I came over this morning that Hillary Clinton, you know, part this world will be a better place whenever her voice is I don't obviously never advocate violence. That isn't what I mean, but the
When she's
the
out of the limelight, if she'll
yeah,
ever get out of the
whenever she
limelight.
fades away, which may never be, but the idea that a Hillary Clinton could come on the news or in news stories as supporting Randy Weingarten, who's a woman that runs the Teachers Association in America, the union, who's written a book called I have it right here. The book is
Fascist.
called Why Fascists Fear Teachers. Uh, why it is that Clinton and we're a week and one day from Charlie Kirk being murdered by some lunatic who claimed that Charlie Kirk was a fascist. Uh, Here we are. We can't even wait. And before Hillary Clinton's talking about how the right wing are fascist, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But
But
uh,
at the same time, the right wing says the left is
yeah,
fascist.
well,
Everybody's saying everybody's fascist.
that's the point. I kind of want to make a fascist, for those of you that may not know the exact definition, because it gets thrown around in ways that you just wonder what it's like any. We've talked about this before. We hear words spoken and we hear labels applied, and I venture to say the majority of the people hearing them don't even know what they actually mean.
But either way, no matter what, it's going to incite, because
It
people go,
is.
I'm not quite sure about all that fascist stuff, but I
Yeah,
know it's no good,
yeah.
right?
Because of the way it's being said, they know it's a negative thing, but they don't even know what it is. So fascism is basically a dictatorship, and it's either one person or group of people, small group of people that are controlling, in this case, a country. Nazism and fascism are one and the same. Nazism is just a more specific, obviously more ultra-violent and genocidal uh, form of fascism. So
And generally, historically associated with Adolf Hitler.
exactly,
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler, Lenin, Mussolini, all these names you hear. You essentially look at North Korea. Those are fascists. Those are dictators who run things. And so when we hear the left say it, they're talking about Donald Trump. Because when Reagan was in office, when Bush was in office, we didn't hear those words, that word hardly ever. Uh, with Trump, people believe he's a fascist, that he wants to be a dictator, and so that's what they do. When the right says things about the left being fascist. It has to do with the left's desire to censor, which they did during the Biden years, of of trying to force a certain way of like transgenderism, LGBTQ, all that stuff, trying to force that on everyone. That's where the right gets its
in the woke
motivation
in the
in the woke. Yeah, so that the right says, well, the left's trying to be fascists by enforcing or forcing that kind of stuff on us.
and it
Um,
just poured
it
out
just
through cancel culture.
it does, and so rather than somebody like this guy that shot Charlie Kirk, uh, trying to understand what fascism is, they just play off of these labels and go for it. That's why these words are so incendiary. And we're going to show you some videos today of examples of how it's not going to stop. 9/11, we might on 9/12, we were a united country. On 9/11 of 2002, we were less united. I would say 9/11 just last Thursday, a week ago today, we are not in any way united in this country. And so, this idea that we hear the left, in my opinion, this is my opinion, the left can't even wait before it starts right back where it left off. Jimmy Kimmel has been axed now. He's been fired, let go. And you know why? Because one, I believe the new ownership of is that ABC or whichever network it's on, ABC. Yeah. I think these new owners had said in their minds, my opinion is Kimmel's one, his ratings are down. He's not that funny. He doesn't try to be funny. He's a political activist. Uh, and they just start saying, we got to do something here. Well, on Monday night, I don't know if you heard what he said, but the what provoked this was what he said Monday night, and that is Trump's way of mourning Charlie Kirk because of an exchange that Trump had with a reporter where Trump didn't go into depth about his feelings. And a guy like Trump, I think it's fair to say, there's some men who don't want to be emotional. Uh, I happen to not be one of those kind of men. I can't help it. But there are men who, if you say, well, how are you dealing with the death of your friend or Charlie Kirk? Those kind of men will say, I'm good. And leave it there. They're not going to go any further. Well, that's the way Trump handled that discussion. Immediately then he moved over to telling everybody about the ballroom. And so Jimmy Kimmel says, well, Trump's way of dealing with his friend, his friend's death, his friend Charlie Kirk's death, was how a 4-year-old would mourn the death of his goldfish. And then he went on to say other things about the killer, the assassinator of Charlie Kirk being that the right is trying to deny every way we can that the guy is not one of us, when in fact, according to Kimmel, he is one of us. Well, that's obviously over the weekend was proven to be not true. I mean, so the people that run these networks with Kimmel particularly said, enough. We don't need this dude. What he
And
just
so,
said
what's
is
his farewell date?
he's done.
Immediately?
It's off the air.
He didn't get the Stephen
Oh
Colbert
no, no,
till
no, no,
May.
no, no, no. I think what's on there now, I heard that may be, and I think what's going to take its place, something like Steve Harvey's Celebrity Family Feud. But so long, Jimmy Kimmel, you got what you deserved. And what's interesting is that I think people will say, well, they got so much money. Why do they care? What we need to understand is that people like Jimmy Kimmel, in my view, people like Jimmy Kimmel and other wealthy people, it isn't the wealth. The wealth will never be enough for these kinds of people. So what it is for Jimmy Kimmel is that he's got a platform. He can speak his mind and tell people. When that's taken away from him, it's the most painful thing he can experience. So we have that going on. We have a report today where Kamala Harris, says that she now looks back and says that she wished she'd have gone with her number one choice, which was
Peter
Buttigieg, however you say his name.
It-
She would have chosen Pete Buttigieg, but that she didn't because she thought it would be too much for people to accept. A female black president with a male homosexual vice president. That would have been too much for America to absorb. She wouldn't have. She'd have done. She probably would have done worse with Buttigieg. But that's a new little breaking story. I also want to mention.
What good purpose does that serve to anybody? How does it make Governor Tim feel? And what do the rest of the people in the Democratic Party who had to approve that? She couldn't just
Yeah,
do that.
I don't think these people care.
Is this
I,
just the insatiable need to never
I
leave the
guess
limelight?
that's what it is. They just always got to be something. That's how the Clintons hadn't been in office since when? 1990. 6, something like that. Not yeah, 96 when Bush
Yeah,
won, Bush
yeah.
Senior won, and they're still in the news all the time.
This is all the limelight I ever need.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we have that. We have D.D. Lewis, who is a star linebacker for the Cowboys in the early 1970s, passed away at age 79. D.D. Lewis was number 50. He played in the days of Leroy Jordan and Chuck Howley, and he may have been before Randy White, but not long before Randy White.
Two Cowboys whose name we've just talked about their death within the last
Yeah,
month or 6
yeah.
weeks, both of them.
Yeah, and Chuck, Jeff's going to tell you, but I'm sorry, D.D. Lewis is the one who came up with the description of why there is a hole in the Texas, the old Texas Stadium, and it was.
I've quoted this to people all the time, especially people if you ever took them to a football game and they'd never been there, and you look up that hole and you tell them this. But by the way, Chuck had 27 playoff experiences, 2 Super Bowl rings,
Yeah,
played in 5 Super Bowls,
yeah,
didn't win them all,
yeah. He won in 71 and 77.
and he said Texas Stadium has a hole in its roof so God can watch his favorite team play.
Yeah,
Boom.
tell that to other fans, and it'll get them worked up in a heartbeat. There's a report out there that the scammers have latched on to a new way of scamming airlines and air travelers, and that is that they lie in wait at the luggage carousels and watch people remove the luggage tags off of their luggage. And I usually take mine off too right there, and I know I throw them away. I can't remember if I shred them. I don't really like to fly. I don't like the hassles, but evidently, most people just throw them away in full because you're not thinking of it. Well, these scammers are going to these garbage cans, getting these things out, and then because it's got the information of usually who might own it. Well, I guess who owns the luggage, but also the number that the airline assigned to that, and they're making claims about my luggage has been lost or stolen or whatever, and they're making money off of it.
Rita, I hope you're watching this, and I hope you notice that every time we pull the luggage down off the shelf in the garage and I bring it in, I'm tearing off the
Yeah,
tag at that point. But I never
tear it
really
up.
thought about it. I just never
Yeah,
really
it's kind of
worried
crazy.
about it.
Uh, and then Sammy, do we have I can't remember if we have a video of Kash Patel. Okay, so yesterday, Kash Patel, FBI director, was on Capitol Hill yesterday and Tuesday, and it's obvious to me that Trump's administration, like with any leadership of a company, a school, a church, a government, the tone of the leader is going to permeate the rest of it. And sure enough, when you watch Kash Patel, you watch Pete Hegseth, you watch Tulsi Gabbard, Kristi Noem, you name it, they'll get up and they'll spar with these clowns in the Senate and Congress who just want to have a soundbite. We wrote about that a couple of weeks
Right.
ago about these hearings are just a joke. Well, Kash Patel yesterday and Tuesday went at it, called Adam Schiff to his face, just said you're the biggest buffoon in government that there is, and told Swalwell that he is the most unethical, lying, dishonest. And he's right about, in my opinion, he's right about those things, but he's not going to take it anymore. Oh, he got after Cory Booker. And Cory Booker, I'm telling you, Cory Booker is going to run for president of the United States again. Cory Booker from New Jersey, the senator from New Jersey, is a emperor with no clothes. It's the funniest thing to watch this guy because he thinks he's Mr. Joe Cool, and he's like the kid on the playground. You just say he everybody's laughing at him. He doesn't know it. So there's I think our updates for today. Jasmine Crockett. Sammy's got a video I want him to play for you. I'm going to let it go for a little bit, but I think you'll understand why after you hear it. Jasmine Crockett, who I've said to you guys before, it's just one district, one community basically over. Although with the redistricting, she's going to be out of a job soon, unless she can beat somebody that another Democrat that they're bringing things into one district. So she's going to have to run against somebody that she's been comrades with or friends with or whatever, colleagues with. And who knows if she'll win. But she was in this hearing yesterday with Cash Patel and repeating some of what you're about to hear. But Jasmine Crockett goes to church in Dallas at Friendship West or West Friendship. It is pastored by Frederick, why did I forget his last name? Haynes. And Frederick Haynes in his sermon, again, Charlie Kirk was murdered on Wednesday at 1:23 Texas time. This pastor on Sunday had these things to say about the death and about what he views is going on, and I want y'all to hear it. So, Sammy, go ahead and I can't remember what the Jasmine Crockett video was
That's
about.
the one about.
Okay, so
You want me to read this while he finds that video?
yeah. So while I want you to play the preacher for now.
Okay.
Jeff's got a poem, so why don't you go ahead and read your poem about it?
This will appear in Substack on Monday, and I normally don't do this, but this is hot off the press. I just kept picking it up and putting it down. Here we go. Misplaced verbiage. A killing is a murder, that is for sure. An assassination merely is a subset of the murder biz. Somebody's dead either way, I simply must say. Dissecting verbiage in Charlie Kirk's case is quite frankly a little off base. Jasmine Crockett's pastor goes by the Reverend Doctor. How did he possibly decide which title goes on which side? Reverend Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes III must be pretty proud of himself. Don't call him Freddie, and please remember the third. A double honorific to start, a generational suffix to end. First, last, and middle names in between. It's quite a sight to be seen. Reverend Dr. FDH3 is also a word doctor. Read a little more and see what's in store. Good grief. A distinction of killing terms in a time of national grief? Odd topic for making a beef. From his altar, Fred did declare that we should never compare the brutal deaths of Kirk and King. Such a preposterous dare. JFK, MLK, RFK all got in a bullet's way. These three incredible leaders all sadly died as bullet-induced bleeders. Never a distinction between murder and assassin. I guess we were more civil back then. It's now easy to see where Jasmine got her mean spunk. Fed from the pulpit on Sundays, a crock of divisive junk.
Very good. It is. Very good, Jeff. So with that as a premise, I want you to hear this video. Again, it's Frederick Haynes in Dallas this past Sunday talking about Charlie Kirk's murder. Sammy, go ahead and play it.
Whole truth and nothing but the truth. And so here they are. Here they are. In Utah. It's more of us in church than in Utah. We ain't got nothing to do with what they just did.
Seriously, folks, we have black folks in particular.
Is that the beginning?
And Tyler Robinson. And if the Republicans are an individual has done. Now, I want you to think about this logically, both as it applies. He didn't have anything to do with that person killing. Of that back isn't that just a little bit long. It's like 5 minutes long. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play a portion and respond to what he says, because what he says is so rich that we have to dig deep into it. Listen in.
Get your theology together, because the sad thing is we live in a nation where twisted, toxic theology is poisoning the politics of this nation. Have you thought about the fact that this week in Utah, a white Christian got killed by a white Christian? And then the next day, HBCUs were under threat. Now, how did we get in it? I mean, that's called white on white crime. You came the wrong Sunday if you thought you... I'm sorry, I see y'all are real sophisticated and you look really good. I hope they warned you about me, okay? Because on this Sunday, we gonna keep it 100. On this Sunday, we gonna tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And so here they are. Here they are. In Utah. It's more of us in church than in Utah. We ain't got nothing to do with what they just did.
Seriously,
All
folks,
right,
we have...
I don't think that's not the same one as I wanted you to have, Sam. But the idea is this pastor. And first of all, if you go to the pastor's bio page, full of himself, and frankly, I'm pissed off with what you just saw, what I just saw. The other parts of this video are, and I may send it to Sammy so that you have it. If I can find it real quick. No, I don't. Is that the pastor goes on to talk about, one, he's talking about white on white crime, which has nothing to do with this story, nothing. And this guy is berating people for being racist. He is the biggest racist. He's just like Reverend Al Sharpton. And I guess in America, anybody can call themselves a reverend because that dude is as far from a reverend as a reverend gets. He can go out and get his little doctorate on something. It is not a medical degree, obviously. So it's either a book or whatever. It's probably an honorary doctorate that somebody gave him somewhere along the way. But this guy gets up and he preaches about white on white crime, racism, has nothing to do with story. But the most incendiary part was where he goes on in that same sermon to talk about how there is in his way, let me put it this way, in his mind, his words, it's offensive to compare Martin Luther King's assassination to Charlie Kirk's assassination, when in fact they're exactly the same thing. And we write about that in our on our Substack, Grit and Good News, come Monday. For this pastor, and it makes sense that this would be Jasmine Crockett's pastor, but for this dude to get up and run his mouth, and I pray to God he gets this video and our content on Monday, because what he did is as abhorrent. For any preacher to do that is beyond the pale, even for an average person to go on this little diatribe that he went on. And as you can tell, he thinks he wants it to be all about him and his style and his coolness. And, people didn't tell you about me if you're shocked at these words and how I'm, he's being Mr. Joe Cool here. But he goes on to say that Charlie Kirk and Martin Luther King were totally different, when in fact they were the same. It was the same set of circumstances. It was the same, different topics, yes, different era, yes. But the assassination of King is exactly the same as the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and the reasons for it. So you have you could say the same thing about John F. Kennedy. You could say the same thing about Robert Kennedy Jr. Or Robert Kennedy Sr. It's the same thing. So for a pastor in our community or near us, anywhere, but certainly near us, teaching this BS or spouting off, running his mouth about something that's, you talking about offensive, is just too much for me. And so shame on you, Reverend, because what you just said is about as offensive as it gets. And in my column, you're talking about the pot calling the kettle black. A guy like that calling anyone a racist is as hypocritical as it gets. So any thoughts on that?
I spewed them already, baby.
All right. So Sammy, do you have any thoughts on that guy?
No, I'm kind of confused why he did the quotations when he said a Christian got killed by another Christian.
Yeah,
He
because
thinks
he's
Charlie wasn't a Christian.
yeah, he's in the camp that says Charlie was being fascist. He was not a Christian. He was not espousing things that Jesus espoused. He didn't, he's there to say he didn't accept transgenderism. He didn't accept, you know, whatever. And so he creates this description. Again, it's classic of these people.
Yeah.
They make somebody out to be a monster because then they can justify going after him.
Sam, I picked that up too, and I don't know if you picked the second part up. He gave the air quotes on the victim, but no air quotes on the killer.
He never even mentioned the killer.
Right? I mean,
he never mentions the killer.
If you're talking Christian and Christian, don't air quote one and don't air quote the other.
He doesn't mention the killer. Matter of fact, that's a 21-minute video. He never mentions the killer. I mean, he might have been passing, but not to any significant point. He just wants to tell his congregants who sit there on their butts, clap and cheer and get up. I'm sure they got up and they're dancing around and looking good, and all that stuff. I couldn't care less what color anybody in that service was or is, but they're just clapping along. Like you talking about cult of personality. That's a cult of personality right there, and it's shameful. To be clear, as far as I think are concerned, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I'm not going to get hung up for particularly, I don't want to waste our time on a word. What I'm more concerned about is this guy running his mouth, belittling Charlie Kirk, uplifting Martin Luther King. We're all, whenever we've written about Martin Luther King, and I will say Martin Luther King, I think if he heard that nonsense, he would be sitting down with this pastor and say, wait a minute, brother, that's not how we go about this. You're bringing in race. The color of one's skin has nothing to do with it. Martin Luther King is the one who said it's about character. It's not about one's color of skin. And so this guy is all about white on white crime. Right. Who cares? Who cares if it was white on white crime?
Right. An assassination is, as I say, a subset of murder. If you go to the dictionary on assassination, I'm paraphrasing, I just saw it the other day. It's murder of somebody famous or political.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah.
And to say, if you say, well, he's not political, well, you weren't listening.
Yeah.
If you say he's not famous,
my column gives the reader four elements, the four elements of if you're comparing King and Kirk, the four common elements of why it is an assassination, as we know the term. You just mentioned one of them, but there are others. And so just look at them. The average reader can look at those and say, yeah, that held true for Martin Luther King. This holds true for Charlie Kirk. It's the same thing. And imagine a white preacher getting in the pulpit and standing up and talking about that's black on black crime, and the victim is a Christian. It's just offensive. And so to you, Mr. Haynes, you ought to be ashamed. You should be rejected. You should be I don't know, step aside for a little while, because what you did is just stoke more flames, and it's offensive. And at least one party of people, and I'll just say me too, but going to call you out about it. It's wrong. Chuck says, what so-called reverend preaches this? And yeah, exactly. He's not a preacher. He's not a reverend. He's a Martin Luther King Jr. wannabe who's just so off base it's not even funny. Okay, there you go. I needed to get that out of my system. Let's talk about these hearings. Sammy, let's play.
What about the other Jasmine part?
That's what I was about to get to. Oh yeah, the Jasmine, she's really this dumb. Yeah, play that. Get that ready, Sam, and play Jasmine Crockett.
So we can have all that behind us.
This is her talking about Kash Patel. All right, so we're going to talk about Jasmine Crockett for a couple of reasons here. I'm going to play the video. Have Sammy play the video.
We're talking about solving crime.
Yeah, that's we're gonna bring those two together. Okay, so just play Jasmine Crockett, and you'll get a sense of why we want to talk about this. So this is Jasmine Crockett.
have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director.
So you're welcome, Chuck. But we've got to show more of this stuff. This is a woman again who represents a district, Cedar Hill, part of Tarrant County, part of Dallas County, I think. How she ever got into Congress is a mystery, one of the greater unsolved mysteries in the history of the world. But this is her yesterday going after Kash Patel. Obviously, she knows nothing about Kash Patel's background. She's just chirping away at what she's heard others say. Kash Patel in this hearing said, look, if you think the FBI is failing, let me just tell you what we've achieved. And so he goes on this whole list of what they've achieved in the 8 months, 7 months he's been in office. And he recognizes that it's not him, it's the greater good, the greater whole of the FBI. But she has no idea about this. She doesn't care to tell you the truth. And as Chuck says in his comment, that the indoctrination, she's getting it from somewhere, whether it's at home, her little echo chamber. Can you imagine her little echo chamber? And she's getting it from her pastor, who just runs his mouth and tells lies. She does the same thing. The other part of our segment was to tell you that in a story last week, Jasmine Crockett actually said in an interview that I thought we had it, I guess we don't, but that she believes that the police is not there to prevent crime. The police exist to solve crime. So imagine having that stupidity rolling around in your brain about what the purpose of the police is.
Well,
and
she's half right, but only half.
Well, yeah, they
know?
police, the detective side of policing wants to solve crimes. The legal system wants to solve crimes, and that's what the FBI did in 33 hours with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But she says that's all they're there to do. They're not there to prevent crime. Can you imagine being that out of it? First of all, she's not even with it enough to know I probably shouldn't say this to kind of blow my cover here, because this is going to reveal just how dumb and ignorant I am. And I know I shouldn't be using some of these words, but how else do you describe that? That's just dumb. And it's borderline ignorant. I don't know that she actually believes that. Maybe she does. But it certainly, if she had any credibility of having any intellect, that blew it out of the water. But then she fails to understand how just at face value, that's not what the police is there for.
My dear friend, I call Hockey Jeff, served for a good long term with one of the leading departments here in town as a police officer. And a big part of his job was he was the warrant officer. Now let's talk about solving and preventing. Somebody commits a crime in that district, in that city. If it's traffic offense, theft, whatever it is, they committed a crime. They got arrested. Okay.
Yeah.
There was no prevention. It was just an arrest. That was after the fact.
Mhm.
Okay. Then they don't show up for their hearing. So then the warrant officer gets this log of people. And when they don't show up for long enough, he goes out and finds them. He does the detective work. Oh, this guy works at such and such a place, and this is his shift. So then, if it's not in his town, he calls up the other town here in the Metroplex. Says, I got this guy. Here's what he committed. We've got his warrant. He works at such and such. He works at such and such a time. Let's go get him together. Because he doesn't want to go there by himself.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens. That is crime solving. That is crime solving.
Yeah, I mean, something's wrong, and something's wrong with Jasmine Crockett. Something's wrong with the people that want to put her in office, wherever that money is coming from. Something's wrong, and it hits too close to home. It happening in anywhere in the country it makes me stop. And we've talked about this before, that what we see happening in other places, as far as it may be away here, can happen here. We need to understand that. And that we have been quite fortunate in Waxahachie that we haven't had some of the things that we've seen happen in other places hasn't happened here. But she's just down the road, and my concern is about what is she gonna spawn in terms of the next, or is there somebody going to be in Waxahachie or Ellis County want to run that's like that? And one of the reasons why the sun continues to grind out its mission is because we're going to prevent it from happening to the extent that we can. So that's why this bugs me so much, beyond the obvious of why it bugs me, is because she's just down the road. And for her to say, last night, Sammy, there were lots of police, right? They weren't there to solve a crime. They were there to prevent crime. They were there to protect people and prevent crime from happening. That's what the police officers in uniform, generally speaking, that's what they do. They're on patrol. They have their beats. They drive around in their cars. The whole purpose is for them to protect and defend and prevent crime. Or a person in Congress, or a person on Hobo Row, of all places, even to think that that's not their job is a scary proposition. And so we wanted to bring that attention to you. With respect to Kash Patel, the left is it is a sad day in America when any one of us feels good, really good about a person on the left, simply because they're showing respect, in this case, to the FBI director. There were a couple of them in this hearing, that over 2 days. And I thought, well, that's the way it should be. Goodness should not be the exception to the rule. It ought to be the rule. And instead, we're now in a place where what you just heard is all we really hear in these hearings. That's why these hearings are such a joke. It's a waste of time. And it was even worse with Cory Booker and Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell, all of whom Kash Patel called out. So there you have it. Again, I don't know if Jasmine Crockett ever sees these things. If you're watching and you know Jasmine Crockett or get it, I would love for her to sit right here and we just talk about what she's doing for the people of the state of Texas and why she does the things she does, that we witness almost every day. And the last thing I'll say, the media loves to have her on for one reason.
Sound bites.
That's right. And she gets the media know that people like us are going to play that video, and that somehow that's going to make that network or that cable station or cable network grow, be more successful. She's a useful idiot in their eyes, in my opinion. All right. He said. We just talked about it. These hearings on Capitol Hill, and not to beat the dead horse here, but these hearings yesterday, they went on for minutes yelling at each other.
They get 5.
And so Kash Patel, I'm reclaiming my time. You hear a witness. The witness is there to provide information. The witness never gets to speak. When a witness does try to speak and clarify something, I'm reclaiming my time. That's what you hear these Congress members and the Senate. I'm reclaiming my time. Well, yesterday, the Charles Grassley, who was the chair of the committee chair, said after Cory Booker got done, said to Kash Patel, "You want to take a few minutes and respond," because Cory Booker's time had ended. And Cash Patel said, yeah. And Cash Patel then said, what you just heard was a rant full of lies. And Cory Booker goes berserk and starts screaming and yelling at Cash Patel. And Cash Patel says, it's my time now, my time. You be quiet. And Cory Booker, who treats people like that all the time, witnesses, couldn't believe that somebody would tell him that. And Grassley, the chair of committees, pounding the gavel, telling him, it's not your time anymore. Your time's up. Give the guy a chance to respond. And Cash Patel let him have it. It's the way it should be. And my column, I said, here's the way hearings should go. Every witness ought to be able to get to answer in full. Not that they can go on and on and on and blow V8 forever, but give them a chance to respond. Ask questions. Some of these hearings, some of these 5 minutes don't even include a question.
They're so self-serving. It's all about self. Why is it called a hearing? Is it because we want to hear the congressman? No, we've called you in so we can hear what you say because we're mad for whatever reason, or we're here to endorse or to approve. I mean, but that's the hearing is supposed to be about the person that they brought in.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you what, it's a forum. They know that they got 5 minutes on national TV, uninterrupted, and you could be a congressman from a podunk district, not significant to many in the country besides your constituents, and this is your chance. I worked myself up onto this committee because I know this committee is one that has public hearings, and now is my chance to talk about me.
That's right. That's all it is. And I've often wondered why they just don't turn the microphone off. Now, these clowns would just yell and scream even louder so that they can be heard, but turn the microphone off. I just think, appreciate that, Chuck. It is. I mean, a lot of this is covered. Well, Cory Booker yesterday just went on and on about how bad Cash Patel was. He even said to Cash Patel, I don't think I think this will be your last hearing because I think you're going to be fired. This is a guy who has taken the FBI to places it's not been before in terms of success. Here's a guy, sure, there were these senators on the left and congressmen on the left were all after congresswomen too, after Patel, because if you recall last Thursday or Friday, I think it was Thursday, Patel posted that they had the suspect in custody. So then he came back and said that isn't the suspect, and they were hammering him about that. I mean, I would rather, and Cash Patel said I shouldn't have made that post. But Cash Patel's FBI solved this horrific crime in 33 hours. Remember when the other Luigi shot the
president
CEO last week? Last year? It took
United
4
Health,
or 5 days. But Cash Patel, they have to go to these hearings and they know what they're going to get. And I think they have agreed with Trump that, we're not going to take this crap from them and we're going to give it right back to them. So these hearings, something's got to happen at some point. All right, there you have it. Before we get to our rhyme time, I want to tell you that we are sponsored. We're very happy to share with you our new sponsor of Grit and Good News. It's Hoosier. I know I'm not. It's HOOSER. So I don't know if it's to be said Hoosier or Hooser. Anyway,
it's not Hoser.
It's Hoosier custom meats that I have not had it yet, but I will have great, very good beef and meat. They have 2 product lines, both of which have Angus-based genetics. The Wagyu beef is a cross between an Angus cow and a full-blooded Wagyu bull. I wouldn't know a Wagyu bull if it ran over me. But it's good stuff. I did have it before at a place in Fort Worth. Really, really good stuff. Hoosier Custom Meats uses all of it, cuts of the cow, and is a whole animal operation. Products are processed at government-inspected facilities and dry-aged for 21 days or longer. Both Wagyu and Hoosier Reserve beef are available in a variety of cuts, including ground beef, patties, cutlets, fajita meat, chili, and stew, as well as New York strips, ribeye, and fillets. Man, it sounds good, doesn't it? There are too many options. There are many options to choose from. Boxes that you can mix and match. And they provide shipping. You can find them, their specials and promotions are on their website, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can visit them at HooserCustomMeats.com, HOOSER, custommeats.com, or call them at 903-688-1446.
Scott's going to repeat that, so you got time to write it down.
903-688-1446. Hooser Custom Meats. I hope you will take a chance, particularly as we get to the holidays. Man, Maury, my buddy up in New York, sent me and Sonia a package of meat, steaks. Oh, it was so good. This was a few years ago. So good. It's a great Christmas gift. So there you have it. Thank you, Hooser Custom Meats. All right, prime time. What you got, Jeffrey?
Got a little something that was written on September 22nd of 2020, and this was written about an in-law of mine.
Okay, let's hear it.
JP. Our man JP was in a traffic melee. Not a bunch of cars, something worse by far. Hit a stalled rock hauler. Surely made him holler. Full speed on I-45, an interstate highway, not some back roads byway. Broke nearly everything except his spirit, but a bleak future, he would not hear it. First his spleen, so they yanked it out. A really bad scene, but nary a pout. Broke a bunch of ribs, and they took a couple out. One put a hole in his lung. I guess that had to have stung. If that's not enough, there's a bad rotator cuff. Plus, he broke the other list. That's the end of the torso list. The legs are another story. I don't want to get too gory. Let's just say they were pretty smashed. It's what happens in such a bash. The crash could have been you. It could have been me. You don't totally control your destiny. We know not the day, know not the hour. So you better give it up to the great higher power. We all love you, JP. You'll never forget your Houston history.
Yeah, it's interesting to the point you just ended there with about destiny and fate. And as you know, I try to not, well, I don't have to try very hard because I don't use Facebook that much anymore. I do like TikTok and I use it, and it's a struggle at times because there's still plenty of videos that are popping up every 2 or 3 video is one of Charlie Kirk's shooting. And so I'm watching one of them just the other day. Not that I didn't watch the actual hit, but I watched him answer the final question or clarify the final question about gang violence.
He was trying to get a clarification.
And I thought, he has no idea. He's sitting there, he has no idea. In 15 seconds, his life is over. And so do we, it's what time is it? 12:53?
Yeah.
Do we think we'll see 1:53 p.m.? Well, of course we do.
But we do not know
We
the
do
day
not
nor
know.
the hour.
And Charlie Kirk, he's done dozens upon dozens of these things. Why would this happen in Utah? You could see him throwing hats and all that. I don't want to belabor the point. It just makes me deeply sad. I lost a very dear friend on August the 28th. He went to bed the night before. I just talked to him a day before, and as we talked, quite often, I enjoyed it. And he had no idea. He'd just gone to church, got home from church, was tired, went to bed like he always did, and never woke up. And so I guess we need to think about that more often, about how what's the last thing we want said or done? What's the last thing we actually said to somebody? Charlie Kirk, before he clarified that question, he talked about the evidence for Christ, the evidence of Jesus living on this earth, and the proof that Jesus is real and heaven is real. And I'm thinking to myself, he has no idea in 5 minutes he's going to go meet Jesus. And yet that's how he ended his life. Amazing to me.
I do want to say that since we're talking about Charlie, we touched on Jimmy earlier, right? Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes.
We touched on him. I do want to confirm this from Fox that dozens of ABC news or stations to air Charlie Kirk tribute during his time slot.
Yeah, so
So
10:30
Well,
Central
they won't do
Standard
that
Time.
every night.
it says Sinclair Broadcast Group, which operates 30 ABC affiliates, announced it will air a special in remembrance of Charlie Kirk during Jimmy Kimmel's Friday time slot.
Yeah, so Friday.
Yeah.
On Friday. So there you have it. To that point, as we close out our show today, the memorial, the funeral for Charlie Kirk is this Sunday at 1 o'clock Central Time. It's in Phoenix at the stadium where the Arizona Cardinals play. I suspect there will be double, triple the number of people that can get into that that will be there for it. I don't know with a speaker list. I pray that it sticks to being a funeral about Charlie and not these knuckleheads that want to turn everything into politics. Uh, but that is Sunday at 1 o'clock our time. I don't know when the Cowboys play. They play a late game, so there's no conflict there. But I hope that all of us are able to take in the Charlie Kirk funeral. What are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, from what I know so far, it's gonna be Erica, JD, and Trump.
Yeah,
at
so
least.
JD Vance and Charlie were very close and friends, and I know JD has said some things about him that just are moving. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. All right, it's time for our day in history. What do
Today
we
in
got?
history, we did a little better than we did. Oh, that was a tough
man,
one we
it'd
had
be hard to
yesterday.
get any
Tuesday.
worse.
5 and 4 today. Here we go.
All right, let's do it.
President George Washington laid the cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol.
So, George Washington.
1803.
1780.
1793.
What did you say?
He said 1803.
And I was
He was
off
elected
by.
in 88. And
Oh,
I meant to look this up, but was it originally in Philly? And then they built. We
I think
had the
so.
other day about when they broke
Yeah.
ground on the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congress passed the
Chuck got it.
Good job. The Fugitive Slave Act, which created a force of federal commissioners charged with returning escaped slaves to their owners. The act was repealed in 1864 during the American Civil War.
So what's the question?
Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Act. So this act was passed in this year, saying that a force of federal commissioners charged with returning escaped slaves. If you escaped, these guys are going to find you and get you back. It's kind of like ICE.
1834.
1861.
50.
Oh,
Dang it.
okay.
I liked what you're thinking though. You're getting it before the Civil War.
Yeah.
The first edition of the New York Times was published.
So let's see. We're in 2025. 1835.
1906.
Can't be that. I just missed it because let me 1875.
Getting further away. 1851.
Oh well.
I have no
Oh yeah,
idea.
because I was the question before that. The answer was
Civil War.
1850.
Well, and it was the Civil War, and in 61 the war was already going on.
Yeah. So, but I was trying to think. Well, it had to be after 1850, and it was 1851.
Yeah, that is sneaky.
Yeah,
going
that
1
is
year
sneaky.
back there.
Yeah.
But it's whenever they determine newsworthy, right? The National Security Act, which created a national military establishment in the position of Secretary of Defense, went into effect. This one threw me for a loop.
1889.
1840.
1947.
I mean 1940.
1947.
Oh my, no.
Yes, I got it.
No.
Sir.
You said 18.
I meant 19.
No.
But wasn't there talk the other day of Trump wanting to change the Defense Department back to the War Department?
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe it was the War Department back during World War II.
Well, that's why I said what I said.
So maybe they just changed it to this in 47.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. United Nations Secretary.
That's right on the money. Almost. Say again.
This is a hard name to pronounce. I want to make sure I got Hammarskjöld. United Nations Secretary Dag Hammarskjöld Hammarskjold, was killed in a plane crash in northern Rhodesia, now Zambia.
So the last
UN Secretary.
54. 19.
1973.
61.
Did I get it?
You're out.
54.
No. What did you say?
54.
No, you
54,
didn't.
and he did.
I
You
said
said
54.
54? Okay. Yeah,
No,
you
he
got
said-
it.
No, you said 61.
No, that was the answer,
54.
61.
Now I'm all confused. I'm
Oh,
getting
He
it.
said
54.
54. The answer was 61.
61
Oh, okay.
minus 7 is 54.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, yeah.
Hello, yeah.
Okay.
Rockstar Jimi Hendrix died in London at age 27.
Yeah, 1977.
1973.
1970.
Oh,
Okay.
barely got
All
it.
right. Newspaper heiress Patricia Hearst was captured by the FBI in San Francisco 19 months after being captured by
The Liberation Army.
Symbionese Liberation Army.
Yeah, I would say 19. I was going to say 1978.
1985.
1975.
Booyah!
You're in.
I'm in.
Was that the
Was
bonus?
that the last one? No.
No. We got two more.
Okay.
Voters in Scotland rejected independence, opting to remain part of the United Kingdom in a historic referendum. And it still holds up to this day.
1991.
2009.
2014, Samuel.
Yes.
Thank you. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
Yeah.
a champion of women's rights, who became the court's second female justice, died at her home in Washington at age 87 of complications from cancer.
2022.
2021.
2000 or 2020.
Okay.
You both got it.
Got it. 4 and 5 today.
All righty.
All right. So we're giving away 4 tickets to the Texas State Fair. Thank you, Mary, for your kind comment. And thank you, Chuck, for playing along, Terry, too. We always love it to see you guys participating. So we're giving away 4 tickets to the fair. The fair, I didn't bring the tickets, but the fair starts at the end of this month and runs basically through the end of October. We'll give away 4 tickets. So the way we do this, because most people watch our show after the live, so they aren't able to see it live and comment.
Right.
So we'll take the comments that we have here, comments that we get on our other platforms. Sammy mixes them all together and pulls a name out, and we'll announce it at around noon tomorrow as to who won the 4 tickets. All right. Very good. So with that, thank you for being here. We'll be back next Tuesday, at which time Jeff will be on the road. Sammy and I will be doing the show. So we always enjoy having Sammy on as the co-host, and he will be co-hosting with Jeff as well. We want to integrate Sammy more into our show so that we reach younger people.
I hope I can find time to watch it live. I'll probably fight off the urge to call in with any comments.
Well, good. Yeah, please do. I do have one other thing. True or false? False. Kramer's first name inside Seinfeld was Cosmo.
True.
I have no great clue. False.
The answer is true.
And what?
Cosmo Kramer.
Cosmo Kramer.
Well, on Seinfeld. So thank y'all for being here. We're grateful. Okay.
If you'd made that a fill in the blank, I had it too.
Yeah.
There
Sounds
you
like
go.
it. All right.
Well, and as always, make it a great day and put a smile on somebody's face today. We hope we've done that for you also.
See you later, Terry.